bitch.
Doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo,
Is that
doo-doo.
Beck?
Oh, yeah. That was a really quick recognition on your part.
My mom would listen to everything until the house burned down, so Beck has burned into my brain.
With hate or with love? Or
Neither,
indifference?
neutral.
Yeah.
Just it's there, ingrained in my neuroplasticity highway.
Beck was supposed to stay at the hotel
Your
where I
house.
was the coordinator. And I was like doing production groups, like coordinating. And he was booking under an alias, and there was someone making the booking for him.
What was his alias?
His alias was
Cookie.
Pelson Fandamax.
You
And I
still
looked it
stand out
up.
like a fucking sore thumb.
And I went to this Wikipedia for this Ukrainian rapper, and I was like, we have a Ukrainian rapper coming to stay with us. It was my first production group, and I had no idea
What's a
what was
production
going
group?
on. So it's like a room block, but they book a room block at a hotel. It's like a group of rooms.
Room block.
I was sorry, I'm just like pretending like everybody knows what
the
this is.
room block.
At a hotel, a group can reserve a group of rooms, and then individuals check into the group.
And you glue them together with the VR Oculus, and then
That's
you can
right.
stand up.
And Beck was one of these people, and they had all of these requests of our staff, but they ended up not staying there. We made such preparations. I stayed there till like midnight, like awaiting their arrival, but they didn't stay there because they didn't like the smell.
I remember working at South Congress, and they're like, Drake's on the way. Just kidding. Sienna? Who wrote
Sierra?
songs for Beyonce? Was it her?
Sia.
Sia.
Or I
Something.
don't know. She wrote for Rihanna. I don't know.
She's on her way. Just kidding. You know, it was just like, I think because they put out a bunch of bids for a bunch of different places, and then they picked
Or maybe it's
one.
so people who are crazy can't follow them directly. They have to like put out a bunch of leads that go nowhere to throw people off their scent.
You know what they should do is just stay underneath the highway. Then
Right.
no one would know them.
Everybody would just drive right by and pretend like they didn't see anything.
Yeah. That's where I would stay if I was famous.
Hiding in plain sight.
I feel like we've been podcasting for the last 2 hours, 3 hours.
We really have. Because we went and got lunch before we started, and anytime we speak to one another, it always seems like a transformative experience. In other words, I used to have a t-shirt that I stole from my dad that said, "Can't sleep, clowns will eat me," in like over and over
You
and
know
over
what's
again.
crazy is because like that to me is something you could find at Hot Topic, but your dad didn't find it there. It's like I want to know where your dad got it.
I have no idea where he got it. Where did the old heads shop?
I don't know. Maybe like the back of certain gas stations on the Virginia highway is like my only guess.
And now I'm like kicking myself. Where the hell is it? It's gone.
For
I
real?
feel like I've moved too many times. I've always shed so much stuff when I move.
Good lessons in
Which is
attachment.
kind of good. But I guess I still have memories of it, and that's what really counts. That's what gets my...
I have nothing from my childhood, if that helps. I have nothing. I don't have a single strand of anything.
Not one iota. All the little sounds are
I
getting to
will
Whitney.
continue with the notion that you guys can't hear that. And I will deal with it. Hi, everybody.
Tell me all your thoughts on God.
Can that be our theme song?
Yeah, why not? If we sing it...
Don't they make pills for that?
Why can't you just be hotter? You're not thirsty enough. I feel like that's just going to keep happening.
This segment is brought to you by Guitar Center and how much we hate them and the things that they make.
I think I must have gotten your thingy up by mistake.
Yeah, that
it's got
one's
the can
definitely
opener thing going on.
Oh, speaking of which, I confirm that Teresa did in fact send me that can opener to break the spell. So if you have a microphone stand laying around,
This one's cursed. We need some light magic, some moon magic.
Famoon magic.
I'm talking into the butt.
I'm feeling saucy right now.
Give me a taste of that.
I'm
What do you
feeling
got?
saucy.
Are you feeling heavy as a dick?
Yes, I'm as heavy as a dick.
She's as heavy as 3 dicks.
You know what it is?
He was like in the flow state of bone nibble. He just got ripped out of it.
I ripped it out of him last night too, and I was trying to sleep. I'm like, you've had all day. Anyways.
He wants it infinite.
Here's what I was thinking about this morning. I came unprepared. We're raw dogging it today.
We
We're raw
really
dogging the podcast. I think that's fine. I think if you feel inclined to look something up, do it. And if not, kick your dog.
After you cut off his feet.
Kick him with his own legs. There's this part of humanity that drives me insane. This is the humanity corner. And I'll tell you what it was.
Reflections.
It always gets funnier when I start putting it on the docket to launch it into my mouth, because when you put up YouTube Kids on the TV, there's a bunch of ads that play. And nowadays, now that every YouTuber is a fucking millionaire, there's just so many ads. And there was this one of like this non-Caucasian woman staring out at the sea in this beautiful oceanside, whatever, office mecca. And then she goes back to her iPad and she's creating a magazine cover that says, save our planet now. And I'm like, oh, this is popping a pustule in my brain right now. I fucking hate.
F and H.
Okay, let's say the earth is dying or whatever, and Teflon plants are leaking Teflon and everything's dying. Humans don't enact change. They just scream at you. And then be better. You see it at Target now, like they put 99.9% less plastic on everything. And then they have shirts that say save the planet. And to me, it's so asinine that it's like what you're doing is creating more waste, and you screaming at me and saying green, and you're like, okay, but just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
Just don't put it on the label. Don't make a billboard about it, because that's fucked.
Yeah.
What would happen? What would happen if you honed all your energy to just make the changes and not tell anyone? That would save the fucking earth. That would save the fucking earth. So take your concert and shove it up your ass, and your 99% less plastic and shove it up your ass, and all your fucking dumb shit and your YouTube commercials and and shove it up your ass and just make those changes.
Make the changes. Bottom line, I will say, I would buy something that said it had 99% less plastic. So I understand when I have to make a choice of whether I want to get this one or this one, and the price is basically the same. If it says like eco,
Megan,
green,
I want to rip that choice from you, and everything is 99% less plastic.
That is beautiful, but it's not going to be like that. There's
What is
always
it?
going to be
People just
corporations that are going to
stop.
pinch pennies and not care about.
Look at this badge. Don't you want this badge? This badge, like, it's a badge.
Right. Well, it's like when things are certified organic. It's like a
fucking.
you have to jump through all of these bureaucratic red tape hoops in order to get that certification. But then there are people who are certified organic, but they're not certified. And it's like they just don't have enough money to get certified. So it's like, okay, what's our metric for what's acceptable? And how do we get people to act right?
I also
without
don't
screaming in their
trust
faces?
anything Clorox says, so they can sit and shove it in my face that it's 99 and I don't believe you.
No way. What is the parent company? Johnson & Johnson?
Yeah. I mean,
Holy shit. I feel like we're going to get red flag for talking about Johnson & Johnson.
Aaron told me a story about one of the Johnson brothers and them owning things in Costa Rica. Megan is suffering from limp microphone syndrome over here.
Come on, baby.
You gotta be nice to it.
Don't I make you happy?
Isn't this what you want?
Is this what you want? God damn it. Please proceed.
Okay.
I'm just going to awkwardly go like this the whole time.
That was it. And just like how humans like to point fingers at stuff and then talk about it like us and then not actually I think it's hard to do stuff as a gigantic mass. It's just hard.
I always go back to this concept of witnessing and how it's important to witness, to bear witness, to have someone bear witness to what you are doing.
Ooh, that brings, let me write it down real quick. Keep going.
I just think because, like, would it be enough for me to just make all the stupid fucking videos that I want? Or do I have to share them and have people see them?
Megan, you are bringing me to my next thing so seamlessly.
I just always think about that because I always feel like vain and self-interested and like I don't deserve to like try and grab attention like that. But then I'm like, but I'm getting something out of this exchange. And is it for good? Is it for ill? Am I hurting anyone?
If a
Am
tree
I hurting
falls in the
myself?
wood, does anyone hear it?
I don't know. What do you think?
Like, I was thinking about this same shit last night because I was listening to a really cool podcast with Mitch Horowitz. And Mitch Horowitz is like a metaphysician who's just, he speaks so eloquently. Please listen to a podcast with him. It's so good.
Oh, I was like 5 or 6 minutes in and he had already used multiple polysyllabic words.
He has written
like, let me
a
get my
lot of
notebook.
cool occult books. He's just a cool dude. And he was talking, they're talking about, oh, and it's gone. There it goes. But
No! Grab it!
they were kind of tiptoeing in like how binging, so like binging TV or binging your phone or eating food that's not good for you, and how those are all salve for your divorce from self-expression.
Ah.
Yeah.
And
And they talk about self-expression, discipline, and your chief definite aim. And so essentially this kind of boils down in metaphysics to like positive affirmations. And they read Bruce Lee so they read Bruce Lee's whole manifestation that he, wrote out, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to have $10 million in 1970. And then Olivia, I can't remember her last name. She was a sci-fi writer. They read hers. And you're tiptoeing. Essentially, you want to concentrate your efforts. You want to shed all the fog, I guess, is like the best way. And, oh shit, sometimes when I get heady, I lose it and it slips from my fingers. Self-expression. So I was thinking, they were talking a lot about self-expression and equating it to weather and like how concentrated forces move, or what wind is and how powerful it is. And I was thinking how important it was, because they were talking about too, how everybody who suffers from depression or anxiety is lacking some form of self-expression. They talked about obesity. I mean, they talked about like everything. It was really rad. Kind of just like America's consumerism, coagulatedness. And we have all these things to feed ourselves to satiate
something to fill the void.
So yeah, those tiny, and it's important to have those things to a degree, but it kind of buries you from self-expression because then you'll start acting in other ways that don't make sense. Or, you'll start with like, I need a lot of money and then I can do this, versus like, hey, who are you? And then let's go from there. And I was thinking about the same thing. I was like, okay, I've been a deeply psychically satiated person. I am very strong in my spiritual stance, and I feel like that would fill up your cup, right? And I have my soulmate, and that would fill up your cup, right? But it's like, now that I'm expressing myself, people are witnessing it.
Yeah.
Suddenly, something else is happening. Suddenly, the fuse box is like,
did your
glowing.
cup grow?
I feel like I'm reviving a part of me that's always been deflated because of hiding or something, or like, you hide and you're like, I don't want anyone to know that.
Right.
But it's like when I started talking about my talking to dead people stuff on the podcast, I felt electric that I was just putting that out there.
Because it brings it new life.
Yeah.
Once you show it to someone, it's almost like collapsing the wave function and like determining that it's a particle or determining it's a wave. It's like once you bear witness, you make it more real.
And I've read in like channel text how singing is important as a group because it raises the vibratory essence. And I was like, so if you're singing your song and someone hears your song and they are like, oh, I've had a funny thing happen. And then are you bringing them to a different vibratory frequency? One not of stagnancy, but one of like electricity.
Yeah.
And people are like, I don't like the motorcycle aspect of my life so much because it's fun and it's easy, but I feel like I'm pigeonholing myself a little bit. Like there's more to my brain and my life than that.
Oh, yeah.
But people are messaging me like, you made me think about this and now I want to go to therapy. And, it's like,
That's awesome.
if 4 people do that, oh my God, it's just like, that's the echoing. There's an echo and people are listening to it. And there's something about birthing it and other people witnessing your birth.
For real. It's been such a transformative experience to not only create something that I'm really proud of and like flex these muscles that I've never used before, but also, when somebody sends me a picture of them and who I presume to be their daughter, like cooking because they saw me cooking, that's huge.
There were people at our spring fling who came up to me and they're like, we've never missed an episode of Rubbish Cook. And I was like, yes.
There's just something so beautiful about getting a message from someone and them saying, I cooked this today and it's because I saw you doing this. I'm like, I'm so glad that you're cooking, because I feel like cooking is something that is like at its most basic, it's like transforming inedible food into edible food, or just like making some so you can have nutrition. But I feel like cooking, like you can cook any situation. Like you can manipulate the raw materials of your environment, of your situation. Expose it to the heat of your own creation and formulate it into something that works better for you. It's like cook your own fucking life, Like cook your dinner because you got to eat. But I just feel like if you look at situations and you look at what you've got and then you like put a creative spin on it, I guess, then you can cook anything.
I was thinking about an America where everyone is openly expressing themselves.
That's a Simpsons episode too.
And I think like basic is emotional communication, or like, hey, this is shitty, fuck you, or like just like real basic stuff, because I feel like if you're creatively expressive, you're going to tell somebody like, I don't like that. That might not be true, but I feel like if you're an expressive person, you're doing it on all levels of your life.
Yeah, unless you have like a hidden level that you can't access, that you're trying to access, but
I'll keep her anonymous, but I have a dear friend and she recently came to visit.
I thought you were going to say she's right here.
She's right here on my arm, perched like a
Can you
falcon.
see her? I can see her.
And since my psychic eye is being trained every day, I could see the part of her that needs to make music again. I'm like, oh man, that would really open up the valve, your pressure valve, because I could feel it physically being around her.
Wow.
And
Was she reluctant to do it again?
Yeah, I think a lot of people have, I know I have it's not traumatic, but a strenuous relationship with my musicianship.
Because you have a specific vision, or you hear a sound and then you can't get it to come out the right way?
I think there's so many complicated aspects. I got kind of burnt out writing music with somebody, and then I was questioning why I was making music, and I'm like, it's funny, just for other people to hear it. And I was like, that's not how I should be making art. It should be the other way around.
Yeah, like the creation is the reason. The
Yes.
birthing is the reason.
Not like I want people to hear what I'm doing.
Right.
That doesn't make sense.
You just want it to exist.
Yeah.
Making something that's in here exist outside of there is such a fulfilling process. If you can get it out.
There should be a hospital and an ER where people who can come in who are paralyzed, you know?
Creatively.
Yeah. And it can be, it doesn't have to be art, you know, it can be athleticism, it can be automotive, it could be fucking anything. It can be fighting, you know, like boxing.
Mixed martial arts.
Mixed martial arts or, anything.
Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu.
Just a bunch of grappling.
Shitting on shih tzus, whatever. Like, whatever, we can just make it happen. Because I think people get so sucked into the casino fucking slot machine of life. And then
It's all Las Vegas. It's all bright lights.
it is all bright lights and it is all dopamine milking. And then people will find tooth and nail to justify that they're going to stay there forever. And see, I got to talk about people anonymously. I was thinking about someone else in my life who had recently was like, yeah, that's just never going to happen for me. And this little time I have left on earth, I'm just never going to go there and I'm never going to do that thing. And I'm like, scared.
Why would you cut yourself off like that?
Complacency doesn't make any sense.
Is it an impossible feat that this person is denying?
They want to go somewhere.
Seems feasible.
And they just rather, they just can't. And I was like, oh boy. And that's so ingrained in our society too. It's like, just chill, just relax, stay comfortable, stay there. Don't worry about it.
It's the anxiety that builds up surrounding undertaking of the task. I think. Because I'm thinking about people in my life who could never. They have dreams of doing X, but
and they're on another planet.
They could never.
They're on another planet. And sometimes
I want to be compassionate towards those people.
I know.
Because I don't know what it takes. I guess just standing so close to the edge that if you fall over, then you achieve your dreams, And I've fallen over a bunch of times and gotten really lucky.
If I was president, everybody would have to do a mandatory rite of passage. And
like a walkabout? Or
it's a walkabout.
I don't know if it's Aborigine or Maori. It's like you go out into the bush and when you become a man and I guess you go, it's like a spirit quest.
I would give everybody a spirit quest loan, and they would have to fly. You have to fly. You have to get on a plane and go there.
Yeah.
And maybe it's to another city. I don't know. It doesn't have to be that far.
Just that experience of getting outside of your physical and emotional comfort zone.
Speaking of which, I was thinking about segregation.
Holy shit.
Because there was that mass shooting in Buffalo.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is what happens after you segregate societies. And then I was thinking how segregation's big all over the world,
Definitely.
Israeli and Palestinians. There's always been conflict between dualistic nature stuff. But I was like, some guy never would have done that had he just like fucking lived next to an African American. It's just like, I guarantee it, he's never talked to a single fucking person that was not his own.
Agree.
Watch somebody's like, no, they did. It's like, but I would put money down on that. It's just like,
well, the fact is that if he had, then he wouldn't hold such beliefs,
Yeah, and because
the experience is what shows you that your prejudice is bullshit.
Yes, exactly. Just like the man who's going into KKK groups and talking to them.
Oh, the dude on the BBC. British broadcast.
No. It doesn't matter. The black guy going to KKK groups and saying, getting their hoods and stuff. And because it's just like, that's all it took was just like, hey, how are you? I don't like what you're doing. I don't think it makes any sense. And they're like, what do you mean? And then they're like, okay, here, you're nice. You're nice. And then suddenly their whole perspective is just totally fucking flipped upside down. And
it's so depressing that that's all it takes. But I guess it's also uplifting that's all it takes. Depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, I suppose.
To change someone's mind.
Anyways, everybody gets a $5,000 Spirit Quest loan. Then you have to write me a thesis when you come back. Or you could say it. It could just be a vocal thesis too.
I want to go to the south of France and frolic inside a lavender field.
That sounds nice.
And maybe there will be lemon trees around too and sunflowers.
Speaking of lemon trees, is your dad trying to talk to you?
Oh. Yeah, I found another dead bird today.
Yeah, I was like, what?
And it had a little yellow chin, which was cute, but sad because it was dead. I don't know. Sometimes my dad wants to talk to me. I think he wants to talk to me about my brother, but I don't really know what it's about. It's so hard to connect with. I mean, these people are so close. They have the same DNA, but have we ever really connected and seen eye to eye? Like, does he understand me? Does anyone, you know?
And that's it. That's the wrap. Thanks for joining us.
And so that's what your thesis is going to be based on. I don't know.
Are you talking him to your brother, or him to you, or him to both, or you to him?
It seems to me like it has to do with my brother, but I don't know why. That's just my feeling. I haven't really tried to get in contact. Sometimes, because I keep the little shrine on my air conditioner thing, sometimes I'll look over there and be like, hey, how are you? Okay, I gotta go now. And not really like stay there for very long. But actually, I did listen to his voicemail this morning.
Oh.
I just remembered that. I can't believe that I did that, and then I saw the bird.
Oh.
That's so weird. Anyway, before I get emotionally upset, hey, Dad, what's up?
He's like, get me off your air conditioner. I hate it up there.
I'm not going to get you a Three Musketeers bar. You don't need that. You're a diabetic. My mom's been going to the doctor and stuff too, trying to get her shit right, which I'm proud of, because we never went to the doctor or the dentist or anything.
You don't
like
need to
that.
when you're not knowing what way is up.
Yeah. It's like, well, you got to get all your needs covered first. And
Dude, I didn't.
it's like having too small of a fabric to cover all of your needs, you know?
I didn't get glasses until the 4th grade.
Oh, shit. Were you having trouble seeing the board?
I cried because I could see for the first time. And I remember then my stepdad was like, oh, you know, you should get contacts. And I was like, that's a rich person thing. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's like body augmentation.
And it was the first, yeah, it is. And when I wore them for the first time, it was snowing. For the first time in my life, I could see like each individual snowflake. And it fucking blew me away.
That's so awesome. That's so cool.
But like, on that note, get your kids eye checked like when they're little and don't have them
Here's a
spend a
tip.
decade.
Think about your kids as
care of them.
human beings. Think about them being adults. Think about what has benefited you as an adult. What would you have liked to known when you were growing up? Tell that to your kids.
Dude, I
All that.
cannot wait. I hope I have all daughters. Just kidding.
Atticus.
I cannot wait to be like, this is graphic, but it's like, look, if they're demanding you skull fuck them, fucking run.
Or vice versa, if they're demanding to skull fuck you.
Oh, that's what I meant.
Well, I mean, at its most basic, like, if they're demanding anything, run away.
That's like, I'm like, all right, are you guys ready? Are you guys ready? Got all my notes prepared. Okay, here's all the fucked up shit. Okay, look for this. And when it looks like this, you don't do, it's just like.
You think you can trust them, but you cannot trust them.
I'm like going to do that when they're like 11.
It's scary to think about all the situations that she's going to be presented with that you won't be there for.
And
So
I
you
hope
just have
I'm
to tell her ahead of time.
just going to, well, she's going to be too young. I'm just going to give birth in front of her. It's like everybody should watch that.
Definitely. That's how we all came into being.
Yeah. And it's like this freaky thing. And it's like, well, if you don't want it, then come look at it. It's like such an obvious.
I think that humans should talk more about menstruation too.
Yeah, that's another thing that's just like, oh.
Yeah,
Gotta
like,
go.
why don't you care about that? It's like half of the world does this thing. It's like a miracle of nature. I don't know. I don't know if that's really related to raising Ruby, but I guess just thinking about the female body and its capabilities.
We squash it underneath our big, heavy foot.
That's true. We shrink it to disappear.
Yeah, and then that podcast with Mitch Hurwitz had me thinking of like societal conditioning too, where how much of that is influencing who you think you are and like your net worth and your self-respect and who you're supposed to be. And it's like all of it.
All of it.
All of it.
1,000%. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I wasn't really comfortable expressing myself like feminine wise until
2 years ago. That was
Like-
mine. That's why I went to therapy.
2017 or something is when I started to do that.
Did we start doing that at the same time?
Maybe.
I was listening to a woman who wrote for GQ under a man's name, and she talked about coming out of the closet a woman, and I fucking sobbed into oblivion, and that's how I found Elizabeth.
Whoa.
Because I didn't feel safe. I didn't know what femininity looked like. I thought it's when you don't know anything and you're scared all the time, and that sounded awful.
That is no femininity that I want to be a part of.
No, it's dark. Like when you get into occultism and they talk about female energy, they're like, it's fucking dark, and it's really scary, and it's the,
What is the basis for that darkness?
Well, if you think about like the creator, creation is like, that's intense.
Because it's like an abyss that things fly out of?
I don't
Intense
know.
because of the level of power?
Yeah.
I could see that. Like a swirling, whirling whirlwind that stuff gets spit out of.
Imagine all the mothers who've lost, and lost children, and then you have to deal with that, and that's
So
you
much
created
pain.
it. Yes. Yeah, a lot of pain.
So much pain to bear, and it doesn't stop at birth. It continues, right?
Until you die.
Until you die. But I guess pain is like a recurring theme for everybody.
Yeah.
But especially mothers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It hurts to be born.
Yeah.
It hurts to live. There's this analogy from this book that I just finished, and they were talking about, imagine a quiet little corner in the forest, and
Where everyone dies.
there's a little cabin that's cozy. It's quaint and perfect, and you walk forward, you open the door. It's all quiet and sleepy in there, and there's 10 beds, and in each bed is a small child sleeping, and they're sleeping so soundly, and one of those 10 kids, if you wake them all up, if you make a sound, one of them will awaken to nothing but pain. This is what being born is like. Because when you're born, before you're born, you don't exist. You're just happily, blissfully nothing. But then when you get woken up, it's not your choice. And you could have a really awesome time, 9 out of 10. I mean, probably less than 9 out of 10. Or your whole life could just be pain and struggle.
So I live on planet. You choose. You do choose.
The person who wakes up chooses?
Everybody does. Everybody chooses their life.
Okay.
You pick your parents, and you pick.
Oh, okay. So spiritually, soul-wise,
You pick.
You exist.
You choose the life of suffering, because I think our view of suffering is so fucking biased. We see pain and blood, and it's awful because we're squirmy little wormy larva babies.
Yeah.
But let's say you're in the void and you're part of the great prism and whatever, and you're like, oh, it's great over here. I don't. What the fuck are you? It's just their perspective is so different, and then Earth is solely just to suffer and learn from our suffering.
Mm-hmm. I could see that. But I do have a hard time believing that someone's soul would choose to inhabit a body where they're a slave or a sex servant or just suffering for their entire lives. I don't understand that.
Yeah, it's hard too. I think it's hard, and I think it's almost sometimes impossible on our end.
Yeah.
But all of those things, I mean, I'll never understand the great samsara and the great suffering and the all the energy tokens that we put into learning. But it's like even pain fosters a great sense of pressure and turns coal into diamonds, and then like, look at us. We didn't have any sort of cush life at any degree.
I know. I agree, but I just think about somebody who's born with like an excruciatingly painful disability, or like there's a missing brain bit or something.
I like to think about too, it's like when you're reincarnating and you are dealing with karma, and
Karma is a frustrating topic.
yeah, it is.
Because it makes you think that someone who's suffering deserves it. And that is kind of a not fair way, not a compassionate way.
I think deserve is a strain. I don't think that that's the right word. I think it's like, like if we bring back the piano, right? It's like everybody starts at the bottom key, and the bottom key is a slug or whatever and doesn't have much. And then from each piano note, like, how'd you do with all those lessons? Did you deal with the pain? Like, I think this person just popped into my head, and maybe they're hanging around. Aaron's beloved aunt who had, it wasn't leprosy, but her skin would fall off. Her skin lacked the...
She was in pain constantly.
Constantly. And Aaron was like, it didn't matter. She was just so full of knowledge and wisdom. Guess what she gets to be next time around? Anything she fucking wants. Because she did it with grace. You know, and she lived the life that she fucking checked all the boxes.
Yeah.
Whereas some other people in my life that I know, foomp, you know, it's like, hey, we gave you these simple obstacles. You didn't do them. You need to stay here until you fucking learn how to do them. And they're hard. They're not going to be easy.
Right.
Because it's so funny. It's like ease is so quickly lubricated into like greed and power, and
because it's easy to take advantage of a system or a person or a situation where you have the upper hand.
And then guess what? Foomp. You know, it's like
I definitely understand that the struggle is necessary to shape people into diamonds. I still struggle with innocent kids suffering.
Yeah, and that it's like so often when it's a child,
it's like they're not even ripe enough to make decisions.
But their soul was, and then on top of that, I think that there are extraneous forces. Like I remember reading about this healer who was called into a kid who had cancer, and they were deathbed. They'd done everything. Like, here's a 5-year-old who's dying. And the healer goes in and she's like, this isn't her pain. This is the dad's mother. Like, that's how...
Like generational trauma?
She healed him.
Wow.
Yeah. I think that that's extremely powerful because it's like, okay, dig out the mother-in-law. You know, whose pain are you dealing with recently? Like my mother-in-law, she slept funny a year ago, and now she has excruciating skull pain. So I dug out my book, Heal Your Body, and skull pain. I was like looking at it, you know, like the nerves and stuff. And I was like, are you trying to control someone's life? And are you afraid of
her son?
Change? No, not her son. But it resonated with her to the point where she was like, who do you see?
This is why I think you should be a healer.
Well, because I'm like, it's not like you were in an accident. It's like you slept on a pillow and no. This is not your pain. You know, this is...
All due respect, that's a little delusional.
Well, I mean, it's like, I guess if you're them and you sleep and then you wake up and you've got this kink in your neck.
And it just doesn't go away.
She's in physical therapy. And then I was like, I was tuning in and I was like, are you the only one like your mother? You know, because she's one of 4 daughters. Mm-hmm. And I could just like suddenly pick up on, I don't know enough, but I was like, that's your ball of wax. And this is what it has to deal with. And that's as far as I can get now. But.
Damn. There's so much that I don't understand.
Isn't it nice?
But I'm happy to experience it and talk about it anyway.
I like talking about it too.
Everything moves in mysterious ways.
Dude, imagine a zygote in your womb, right? Gotta go.
No.
Okay. And like you get mad.
Oh.
What is it? I mean, it's like it's pulling everything from your body, and it's so stupid to think that your brain isn't a part of that.
Ah, yes.
Or what sort of trauma is stored in your DNA, or like, you know, you're going to pass that on, whether it be ailment or
Yeah, if genetic
disease.
information is stored in the double helix, then why isn't emotional trauma stored the same way or coded somewhere in our physical
in
being?
your butthole. It's coded in your emotional
Physical
butthole.
trauma coded in your butthole. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We need that soundbite forever.
Oh yeah, we got it.
I'm gonna get a MIDI controller and play these. Like,
Yeah, I want to put all of our sounds on a little keyboard. I think maybe that's how our theme song will come out, because I've got a good one of Ruby saying "you fuck." I don't know if I want to put that in the theme, but it's marked
should.
in a tab. It is marked.
why did we get so darky? It started with.
We talked about my dad briefly.
Oh, yeah,
We were
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about pain.
Well, you keep talking about him, and I can feel him, and it's so funny. This is how I feel dead people. It's on my left eye.
Oh.
It's on my left eye, and my left ear was ringing when you mentioned him earlier, and I haven't had the ringing in a long ass time.
Da.
And he's like wearing a yellow shirt.
Oh, mein Fascha. Sometimes I look in the mirror and all I see is him, and I'm like, "You son of a bitch, get out of my body. This is my life. I'm
like,
gonna make these choices." It's like when I look at it's like this
Beard?
part of me is very much him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this.
Your lower half?
Yeah, kind of the cheekiness, the jaw. If you look at pictures of him as a teen, it's like, is that me? But yeah, sometimes I look in the mirror. I'm like, "Hey, old man. You had to come down here and fuck with me today, huh?" But, I mean, he's always welcome. Most of the time.
He knows. He's got shit to do on the other side.
I wonder what he's up to. His sister Jane is there. His brother David is there.
Yeah, it's a big party.
His mom and dad, of course. Nephews, nieces. A lot of people have passed beyond. More people have passed beyond than live now, right? Oh, yeah. You would think they're over there doing
can you look
podcasts
up-
about us.
Can you look and see on average how many, well,
Hey, Siri.
how many people die
How
each
many
year?
people have died this far in human history?
Okay, I found this on the web for how many people have died this far in human history. Check it out.
Thanks, B.
I thought we were going to have to do the math ourselves.
Nah. You just gotta ask
But it's
Siri.
exponential, and then, you know, your fucking, what's it called? Life expectancy has.
It says, given a current global population of about 7.8 billions,
Million.
the revised estimate means those alive in 2020 represent nearly 7% of the total number of people who have ever lived. So if 7.8 billion is 7% of the grand total, I think I can figure that out. 12%.
I would.
7%. I think it's like this. Here, you keep going. I'm going to try and do math.
The churning and turning and twisting and burning, the killing the human.
Breaking my leg. So if you put... Okay, so this is 7 over 100. This is 7.8 billions. So 7.78
I like watching her do math.
equals 100x. So I don't know how to write. How do you do the times 10 to the...
So wouldn't you times
17.
times this and then divide it by 100?
Yes.
So times this. Okay,
So-
what's 7.8 billion times?
I know. I was like, how do I write 7.8 billion into my calculator? 7 times 7.8. So 54.6 billions divided by 100. My tens are weird. I don't know, dude. It's like 55
It's way more than that.
trillion. I don't know.
Anyways, they're building a rocket.
It's a
on the
lot.
other
It
end.
is a lot. I like to do math. I like to do long division. It's just fun.
But this bitch hired somebody to wash her face.
I'm not a face expert.
Isn't it so funny? We're like, fuck a body. I hate
know, but I wrote that in my thingy today. I said, let's see. Trying not to get hung up on my face skin erupting, but instead take the bad with the good and to celebrate my resounding good health and bountiful energy. I need a groomer. I don't want to fuss with my hair, my skin, or my clothes, really. Love to have that all figured out by someone who knows better than me. I know that I've been doing fine thus far, but it's just something that I want to take off my plate. I just want to focus all my energy on creating.
Is it rejection, though? Are you rejecting it?
It's just not something I care to think about, but I want it to be nice. You just think I should DIY that shit?
I see a Megan who needs a lot of water in her plant.
I don't want to water this bitch.
But I think that that's like part of your puzzle. A little bit.
Grooming?
Self-respect.
I don't know why that makes me mad.
Children of neglect, it's so easy to be like, to pawn it off as like because I fall into that same category too. But I've had to cultivate like, hey, these are the things that I need and I needed to like do this part. But I figured out,
Well, okay, I just want a coach or someone who'll say like, I recommend that you have this and do this
because I'm your face person's telling you to do, or your face person is just literally washing your face once.
She's gonna do a hydrofacial and a dermaplane. It's
Just once. I don't even know
this
what
will be
those
the
are.
third time I'm gonna go see her. I know that after I see her, I feel like a goddess. Isn't that worth
You
it?
told me not to get a dermaplane.
Well, she's got a special right now. If you buy a hydrofacial, you get the dermaplane for free.
Can you plane all of my derma? I want just muscles. I want someone to look at my face and just see the muscles and my ocular. I want to be terrifying.
I want to be terrifying. Oh, it's like your leg. Like your thigh tattoo.
Yeah.
Remove my skin.
My Halloween boo-boo is
No,
what
I
Ruby
love my
calls it.
skin. I really do. And I want to cuddle and hug and be intimate with my skin. So I want to take care of it. I just don't. I look in the mirror and I'm like, how do I get that out? How do I get that out? How do I fix that? It's above my pay grade. She refuses to believe that it's okay for me to relinquish this responsibility.
Because I need a Megan who can run.
She wants me to be self-sufficient all the way.
I also think it's not. I think it's more daunting and scary than you think it is.
Everything is.
See?
I know that if I just try that I'll do it. But
It's the resistance I can physically feel in you. Where it's like, if you actually didn't care, I wouldn't feel this resistance.
I don't deny that there's resistance there. I guess I'm trying to take the easier path. Like, oh, I have an envelope full of cash. Why
Okay.
don't I just go and get this person
Megan,
to scrape my face?
Finding someone else and picking a person, that does not sound easier to me. That sounds harder.
Finding a face person?
Yeah.
I got her.
And then you get there and then you go there and then you have to do it's just like, to me, that in my book, that's more complicated than like finding the right.
Doing it yourself. I feel like I've been trying to figure out my skin for so long and I just keep wasting money and like garbagey plastic products. It's just, I want to just throw everything in the trash and get one thing and then that's it. That's all I want.
I've always wanted
questions?
I've always wanted one thing too. I was like, why do I have to pick between a volumizer, a shine, and I was like, why not all of them? But I'm also thinking that you're being sold the same thing. It's just being labeled as.
It's an industry that there's so much to navigate through, and I just don't want to think about it. Let's see. The other day, I really liked the way you put the winds of self-expression, because it is a turbulent
Yes.
thing, and you have to kind of
And it's hard.
right your ship amidst those turbulent winds.
It's hard to express yourself to other people.
Yeah, the navigation bit is difficult. That's why you need a North Star. You need that, what are they
Definite-
saying it in the...
Chief definite aim?
Yes.
Yes.
You need your North Star to keep your ship righted in the winds of the self-expression storm. It's an analogy. Look it up.
ANAL. OG. It's so funny. I recently met somebody who is doing the opposite. She is doing everything she possibly can all the time. And it's cool because you don't ever meet people like that.
What is she doing?
She's like going to move to Mexico, and she rode her motorcycle to the southern tip of Mexico and back. And like, she's just not bound by anything and is just going and is.
Does she ever get lonely?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure you do. I always like when I find I've had a couple bar regulars who are these constant, they're explorers. And I'm like, no, you're just running away from yourself. Because you keep thinking if I move to this place and do this thing, then everything's good. And it's like, no, you're running from yourself. You will not fix the fucking problem.
Yeah, I've been in a relationship before when the person thought that a change of scenery would change them, and
Over and
the scenery
over.
kept changing, but it has to come from within, because your inner world is what needs to be A-OK 100 A1, and then the outside is inconsequential. It's like flammable and inflammable being the same thing. What the fuck? Thanks a lot.
I was going to ask you something, but it didn't make sense. Because I was like, didn't you have a dream where you peed on somebody last night? And I was like, that wasn't what the dream was. You peed
I
in
did pee in the dream though, but I didn't pee my bed. Thank you very much. Yeah, so in the dream, I was looking for a place to pee, and I found like this little clay.
You were looking for a place to express yourself?
It was like this clay container, but there was like a big chunk out of the side of it missing, so it wasn't going to be a good place to pee because it didn't contain it. And then I was like, dummy, there's a bathroom right over there. Go find a toilet. So then I went and peed in the toilet. And as I was getting off the toilet, like my leg or my dress or something like pulled the toilet forward, and like all the pee like came out of it, and the toilet was just like wasn't stuck on the floor. It was just like a fake toilet, I guess, that I had peed into. And the pee went everywhere, and I don't remember caring. I don't know.
You got further in your dream than I normally do. I'm always looking for the bathroom, but I never get to go.
My dreams recently have been a lot more vivid. I've been smoking less before I go to bed. I've been smoking less in general, but I still do it right before I go do shooty hoops and right when I get home from work. But I used to do it like whenever I breathed air. So I think I'm doing pretty good. But yeah, I've been trying to get more sleep. Been reading the book Why We Sleep, and I'm only like...
I like that why did you buy that book?
Ellen gave it to me.
Oh.
She's been napping with the baby.
And it's suddenly like,
trying to
whoa.
get sleep, and she read that book.
Well, because it's all going to change, so she better get sleep now.
Right. But apparently sleep is like more important than being awake for your systems.
Well, your body's not doing anything.
It's doing so much.
How stress-free is that for your
It's sorting
kidneys
through
to just
everything
like,
that you did that day and like recalling your memories and making new links. It's like building your brain and the rest of your body too.
Also, it's like good for your soul to just leave for a while.
Yeah, I like taking breaks.
I gotta go eat a moon Caesar salad, and then that sounds so good.
That sounds really good. Why am I still hungry? We had so many hand rolls.
Because here's what happens when you eat rice and fish. You're hungry 10 minutes later.
You're right. And mine
It's
was
not
mostly
enough.
rice and pickles.
Yeah, that's gonna keep you full for 15
I
minutes.
could eat so many of those. I gotta buy more sushi rice so I can eat.
I need a
it
rice
all the
maker. I used to have a
time.
rice cooker, and that thing was fucking amazing.
What is it called? Zoji Rushi.
Yeah.
Gotta get that
I
kind.
play little dingy songs and
That's the kind of bidet we should get too.
a little dingy bidet.
The one that has lights and music.
The one that projects your past mother on as a holographic emblem that hugs you as you shit.
Butt wiper.
Ooh. If anybody's made it to the end of the podcast, this just popped in my head. Because I'm in that space now after seeing your dad where
Yeah.
random stuff starts popping through. I remember Sarah telling me, she's like, when you shit. And I was like, excuse me?
Excuse me, ma'am.
How do you know that I shit?
Pope shit in the woods.
She was like, visualize you concentrating all of your waste and your mind and your body and your trauma and your anger. She's like, imagine when you shit that you're shitting all of it out.
Whoa, that's a great tip.
And I told Lucas, I was like, if you started telling people in the ER this, how many people would never come back?
It's freaky.
If you had a bad day or a rough day or whatever, something's on your mind, and then you physically get it out of your fucking body, like scan your body and poop it out.
Yeah. I think play is so important, but especially play in your mind. It helps me so much live a happy life. Because I don't know if this is sharing too much. But
Oh, when Megan says that, you run. No, I'm just kidding.
it's about to be unbridled up in here. I used to do this thing when I'd be going number 2, where I would be sitting on the toilet and I would reach. Oh, he's putting his face in my body while I'm doing this. I would just reach all the way up and go all the way up and down, and I would go down, squeeze it all out, and just try and get my whole self involved in the process. And it's really rapturous.
I feel like you're already on the tantric plane, doing all the tantric stuff.
It's
and
I don't know what it
just-
is, but I feel it. You
Yeah.
know? It's something that I'm tapped into without my knowledge.
Well,
of
you're
being
tapped into your
it.
body too. Well, you are and you aren't at the same time.
I feel separate from it, but really interested in it.
Really curious about it.
When I take a shower, I usually will lay and put my feet up in the water and just play with my legs and be a mermaid in the shower. I do that almost every day.
You lay in the shower?
Yeah. You don't. I like to play and splash.
Is this why my neighbor was talking about how you are like a goddess among babies? Well, Linda was, and I was like, she just knows, man. You are just
I feel like I exist in that sort of
Yes.
state. Cue the water lapping. I think people should play more if they want to feel happier. I think play is really important.
Yes.
But on the other side of it, it can be frivolous when you have to get shit done. So you have to moderate that with responsibility.
That's our closing argument is you have to moderate play with responsibility.
Yeah. If you get hung up on play and that's all you do, then your life will fall into shambles. But do relieve yourself by playing. Give yourself a break. Play a game. I feel like you learn a lot and you help your emotions to settle and figure themselves out.
I always get this, it's funny, I put up a big beach ball when you say that, and I'm like, it's so hard for me to, I don't want to play Jenga. It's but it's well then what game would work for me?
Is it because you want to achieve something?
No.
Because I think there's real pleasure to be had in doing something that will amount to nothing.
Yeah, I don't want to achieve something. I'm not an achiever
Yeah.
at all, actually, now that I think
Right.
about it.
I mean, yes, you've achieved so much, but
It's hard to find a form of play that you're interested in or that is like what's my play style or something. I like looking at bugs.
that's cool. Museums are fun to visit, or like science things, exhibits. I don't know. I think you just gotta try a bunch of stuff.
Yes.
Play outside.
I should come up with a list of things for people who don't like to play or like don't. I want to play with a parachute. That sounds like fun.
That sounds fun. Do you want to play on a motorcycle?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I try to play all the time. I play with my food.
That's fun.
Yep. It is. And delicious. And nutritious.
Do you have any closing thoughts?
I
Thanks for joining us, guys. It's fucking cool to see the views on this shit go up.
Yeah, what the hell?
We surpassed 150 downloads. We were supposed to go be on another podcast tonight. We're 10 episodes in and we're already
branching out. We're
branching
fucking
out.
prolific, my friends. Yeah, we hope that one of the hosts of Austin All Day feels better soon. I think if we can, we're scheduled for next week if you have availability. Okay, go out into the world and see yourself in other people. When you look at other people, see yourself and treat that with love and care. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Davis. Who me? Yes, you. Couldn't be. Then who is the lovable guy? Been trying to be more affectionate towards my dog.
Bye. 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 Bye.